Let's create the functions in the JavaScript file. Here, we created two functions. One is the validation one. Another function is to do the data submission step if validation test is okay to send. So in the validate user input function, we grab the value of all 4 fields from the form that we want to see if they are filled by the user. We use the double equal sign in order to let the program to compare if it's equality between two sides. We usually use 2 single quotes or 2 double quotes to compare if the value is empty. If there's nothing in between, that means it's empty. The alert function is an internal function that gives us a pop-up message. The logic shows here is very straightforward. Let's do a quick test on the submit button. So when we didn't fill in the problem description, we see this pop-up message, which is what we expected. Okay, now let's fill in all these 4 required fields. Okay, after we fill all the required fields and then we see this message that it went through, confirmation message. Since this is a demo, so we just use a fake confirmation message. But in an actual working environment, we will add some code lines inside the submit data method to grab all these user inputs from the web page and use the API function to help us submit the data to the database where the data are saved. In case you see that I use 2 backslash, this is where we can put comments about our code, and with this kind of comment notation, the browser won't interpret the code inside. Okay, that's it for our demo. So let's do a quick recap of what we have so far. First, we have a code line on HTML page where to load the JavaScript file. Then inside the JavaScript file, we have 2 functions to take care of getting the value of the text boxes and validating them to see if they are empty. The if-then statement gives us 2 responses by supplying two possible pop-up messages, depending on the condition we set. Third, we saw how a function can call another function. So with this ability, we can potentially create multiple functions on the JavaScript file and calling to other functions on the other JavaScript files. Finally, the submit button is wired with validating functions from the JavaScript file. So just like CSS is a book of style rules, and JavaScript is like a book of actions. So why alert action or method works in the JavaScript without declaring an object in front of the dot, like some object dot alert. We don't need to have in this format some object dot alert, because the entire body of JavaScript is inside the big object called the window. So technically, we can write window.alert my message, so we can omit the word window. Since small objects are inside of the bigger object, this is the reason we can access to the window and document objects, even if it looks like they are not exist. Before we switch to another topic, I want to let you know that we have been using the word action to describe the function. In fact, the word action has other meanings in other programming languages. The proper way to call it is to use the word like function or method to describe the code. When we say the word function, we usually expect a return or a response at the end of serving that action. And when we say the word method, we don't expect a return of a value because it simply completes an action and that's it, just like one direction.